Aloha and good morning, everyone. I have two new high quality long positions that we're going to go over, CUTR and URGN, and then I also have four new speculative long positions that I'm taking on my end because I understand the risk. But for right now, I'm only going to list the speculative long positions in the platinum new positions members section for new long positions each night. There's a high quality page, which is available to everyone. And then there's a speculative long page where I post the charts, the limits, and the stops, give it crystal clear. And I have a paragraph or two explaining what I'm doing with these or if there's anything interesting about them. However, I also put them in the video lesson, but I'm trying to stress to everyone right now, we are entering the historically and seasonally worst period possible for stocks. August, September, and the first 3 weeks of October are where nasty sell-offs occur. And I want to tell you something. When you have a market that's marching higher every single day by just small amounts, look at this NASDAQ 100. Look at this V-shaped move. A not healthy V-shaped move always leads to sharp price reversals here, 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 here. Get ready probably for another one if we continue to do this. But a below average volume melt up 12 days in a row in the NASDAQ 100 without volume coming in above average one time, that's a recipe for this to happen. So we need to be ready for that, especially as we enter the seasonally weak period of August, September, October. I cannot stress this enough. Do any kind of research going back into the 1800s, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 1950s for the S&P 500, 1970s for the NASDAQ. The bullish period of time is to invest is from November through May. May through October is just a rough period for stocks. If you only invest during those bullish months, your returns are about, I think it's 10 times greater than investing in the bad months and over 2 times greater than if you're invested in the market during the entire year. So seasonality plays an important part in my trading. When I was a new trader, it's not important, and I don't know any new traders right now that give a rat's ass about seasonality. And if you're a day trader, it still matters, but it doesn't matter as much. But seasonality is very important on an end-of-day basis, especially when we've been making these weird price highs without any really powerful session. Now listen, if we were making 1%, 2%, 3% moves on huge volume and then would quietly trade sideways or down on below average volume, that would be great. But we don't have a whole lot of big powerful moves. And so by that little like V-shaped melt up that we have in the market on below average volume, we can just set ourselves up for some nasty price falls. And the speculative positions have been very hit and miss lately. They're 50-50, but when they're failing now, they're really failing. Thank God for stops, but MNGA, look at how that ripped through its stops. You know, this is why I carry them. But sometimes stops don't work. Look at CYTX. Thankfully for me, right here after this move and that move right there on above average volume, I moved one of my stops up to just below 110. Thankfully, I was clipped on that on this session here on the 18th, and then boom, on Monday, nasty price collapse. Fortunately for me, already out half. So the contingency plan was made available to me. I knew what I was risking. This is about worst case scenario. And boom, it happened. Didn't hurt me, but I know one subscriber, and he wasn't in it big, but he still put 1% of his account capital in, and that is just, he shouldn't be putting any account capital into these names that are like this yet. And it cost him, and he was a little upset over it, but still, at least it was only 1%. He didn't do 5, 10, 20, 30% of his account. So thankfully, it was minor losses. But you got to keep this in mind. And then don't forget, I'm also long DRWI. From what I'm looking at and from what I'm reading on the message boards, this is it. My DRWI got stuck. Thankfully for me, I was very fortunate. Whenever I went long DRWI, I was already stopped out a half of it, and then eventually I moved up my first profit target to 115 after I already was knocked out a half of it from my initial entry. Now my first profit target is 115. Boom, it hit it at 115. So luckily for me, I'm already out of 75% of my original DRWI, but the remaining 25%, I'm going to lose it all, it looks like. It looks like it's going to go out worthless. We'll see if that happens, but if they can't refinance, that's it. The stock is dead and done. And if you don't recognize this in any stock under $1, so MNGA, scary, but still not under $1. DRWI, delisted, possibly not coming back. Not delisted, but possibly can't come back under $1. CYTX, it was barely above $1, but now well under $1. These names are so risky, you need to appropriate the right amount of capital to the potential risk that's in these. So ignoring all the speculative long positions, those 4 speculative long positions, if you're a platinum member, go to the new long position page. You'll see my game plan. But for everybody else, let's just stick to the high quality long positions. First one, CUTR. CUTR is a former CanSlim stock that I have been watching since back here. See all that green bop that starts showing up here? Well, it's showing up in my scans. And it just kept showing up in my scans. But no entry. No safe or strong style entry signal at all. And then I got a beautiful entry signal. But what's missing? What's missing on this beautiful entry signal right here? Do you notice how there isn't a large bop surge? Do you notice how there isn't a huge volume surge? Beautiful bounce off the 50-day moving average price. I really thought that with all that previous beautiful volume and accumulation and bop that it would work, but it failed. And since then, I've been stalking it still ever since. It's been showing up in my scans and my radar. Well, following today's scan, our Monday scan, it showed up in my CanSlim scan because the market has not done a market-wide 20% correction. So any former CanSlim stock shows up. CUTR still sports an 88 composite rating or 89 composite rating, and with the BOP surging to a new short-term high and with volume overall higher than the recent consolidation volume, and with a strong hammer price reversal candle over candle price bar, I'm getting long CUTR. CanSlim stocks 2%, former CanSlims 1%, not confirmed in any other scan, even my tertiary scan, so it's 1% only. Getting long 27.10, the high of the day since it's touching the 20-day moving average. First cut loss 26.20. Final cut loss 25.50. If it moves below 25.50, I am out. But CUTR, like I said, been watching, stalking this thing ever since October of 2016. Finally got an entry signal in March, and I thought it was one of the best entry signals I could possibly get. But no huge bop surge, no huge volume surge, and notice how it doesn't have green bop the entire way before that move. But notice this time around, while it doesn't have green bop the entire way, it still has green bop and it's been steadily advancing. So hopefully this long will work out. But once again, if it was coming off 50-day moving average, it'd be a lot better. So it's not the safest trade out there. It's just a higher quality stock that it's just like CAI. I was stalking CAI. I didn't take it on this day here. And that's not it. That's the day I didn't take it right there. That's the day I wanted to take it, get long, look at all the green bop. Notice how though it went wrong way in the short term, so I didn't take it, and now I'm regretting it. My limit did not hit intraday on Monday, and it still remains at 25.14. We'll see if I get filled with CUTR, though I don't want to have another CAI on me. And then the last long position, URGN, biotech stock. This was only in my IPO scan. But do you see the green bop surge above all the previous bop in this chart? Do you see the volume surge with the pocket pivot point signal, the previous pocket pivot point signals, and all the open real body price candle bar patterns with all the bullish intraday reversals, minus this one day here? Well, this bounce off the 50-day moving average with that green bop and volume surge is too good for me to ignore. I looked it up in Investors Business Daily, not MarketSmith, and I saw that it had a 92 composite, earnings per share rating, whatever. But it has a 92 composite overall, and that's excellent. It's like number 15 in the biotech group, and that has like 220 stocks in it. So, going long URGN, clear-cut plan. Limit order at 19. First cut loss, 1785. And if you use 1785, you can use all the way to 1726 like I will be using for the final stop, or you could use 1756. It's up to you. But no matter what, it was just in the IPO scan. It isn't a bona fide CanSlim stock, so I'm not going to add to it, especially as thin as this is. Look at the average daily volume. It's only around 35,000 shares, so definitely not liquid, just like CUTR. It's not the most liquid name, but it's more liquid, higher quality, tighter trading pattern. If you have to choose between one or the other, it's CUTR.